Hi everyone, and welcome to our next CEM homework review video. This is for year 5 and we're going to be working through the block 5 week 4 content. So very much looking forward to working through the CEM review video with you. Just a little reminder, please make sure when you go through this video that you're being accurate, you're checking the answers accurately, but we'd also suggest you of course have your word and meaning book out because there may be lots of new words that you may learn as you go through this video as well. Okay, shall we make a start? Just to let you know, I will put Billy the Bookworm in the bottom corner, just so it's easier for you to work down through this video. So we're looking forward to going through the content for CEM homework, and this is week 4's task that you had to do for verbal reasoning. There will be a separate video for the maths task that you had to do. So let's have a little look at the Billy up. Let's have a little look at the homework schedule so we know what we're going through. So we're focusing on the week 4 tasks, as I just said, and we're focusing on test 19, which is pages 68 to 71, and I'm also going to be marking test 20 with you, which is 72 to 74. If you've had a chance to do the You Could, brilliant, but you can check those yourself. Obviously all the answers are in the back of the book. So, just a reminder, it is a good idea to have your word and meaning book out, so as you go through your homework, it's easy for you to check. So let's have a look first of all at test 19. Now there is a poem here, and I will read this one down through to you, and then we're going to have a series of questions afterwards that we need to answer. The poem is called The Song of the Camp. Give us a song, the soldiers cried, the outer trenches guarding, when the heated guns of the camps allied grew weary of bombarding. The dark redden, in silent scoff, lay grim and threatening under, and the tawny mould of the Malakoff no longer belched its thunder. There was a pause. A guardsman said, "We storm the forts tomorrow. Sing while we may, another day will bring enough of sorrow." They lay along the battery's side, below the smoking cannon, brave hearts from Severn and from Clyde and from the banks of Shannon. They sang of love and not of fame, forgot was Britain's glory. Each heart recalled a different name, but all sang Annie Laurie. Voice after voice caught up the song, until its tender passion rose like an anthem, rich and strong. Their battle-eve confession, dear girl, her name he dared not speak, but, as the song grew louder, something upon the soldier's cheek washed off the stains of powder. Beyond the darkening ocean burned the bloody sunset's embers, while the Crimean valleys learned how English love remembers. And once again a fire of hell rained on the Russian quarters, with scream of shot and burst of shell and bellowing of the mortars. And Irish Nora's eyes are dim for a singer dumb and gory, and English Mary mourns for him who sang of Annie Laurie. Sleep, soldiers, still in honoured rest, your truth and your valour wearing, the bravest are the tenderest, the loving are the daring. So that was a poem by Bernard Taylor, and there's a couple of key words down the bottom there. We've got Redden, which is part of a fort, that was mentioned over here, and then we've also got Malakoff, and Malakoff is the name of the fort as well, so it's always useful to use that down the bottom. So, hopefully you were able to follow that poem down through, and it was all about some soldiers singing a song together, and obviously then they go into battle. It's a bit of a morbid poem because unfortunately some of the soldiers do pass away, but then once you've read it down through, you would have then answered some questions about it. Now I've got another copy of the poem here, and I've just highlighted where some of the evidence is going to come from in terms of when we answer those questions. So what we'll do is we'll have a look down through the questions and see how you got on. So let's start with question 1. Grew weary of bombarding, and this is on line 4, and the line numbers are really, really important here that we do use those. So what does this tell us? The guns overheated? Well, no, I don't think that's correct. The soldiers are angry at having to fight? No. The soldiers want to call off their attack. There's no mention of wanting to do that. The soldiers have been fighting for a long time. So if we go back to line 4, grew weary, so grew tired, that's the key word. So guns can't actually feel weary, but it's the soldiers themselves who are weary, and this is an example of personification that's being used here. So let's go back to question 1. It should have been D. The soldiers have been fighting for a long time, so you can give it a tick. Why does the guardsman allow the soldiers to sing? And they are bored and have nothing else to do. No. The soldiers force him to. No. He wants to postpone the fighting. He wants them to have fun while they have the chance. And the evidence here for question 2 comes from lines 11 and 12. And it says, "Sing while we may, another day will bring enough of sorrow." So, meaning that they soon return to fighting and they should enjoy singing while they can. So that's what those 2 lines mean, because unfortunately there will be grief coming. So make the most of it is really what it's trying to say. Question 3. How do you think the soldiers feel in lines 17 and 20? So we've got the answer here, nostalgic and sentimental. Well, what do those 2 words mean? Well, nostalgic means emotional about the past, and sentimental means having feelings of sort of tenderness. So if we go back to lines 17 and 20, they sang of love and not of fame. Forgot was Britain's glory. Each heart recalled a different name, but all sang Annie Lowry. So if we come back to question 3, we should have gone with B. 4. What washed off the stains of powder? Line 28 from the soldier's cheek. And that comes from here. Something upon the soldier's cheek washed off the stains of powder. And that means that it was the tears that were washed away. So the soldier is singing about a girl who is dear to him. From this we can infer that the soldier is moved and sheds a tear. So the answer is B. Question 5. The fire of hell is a metaphor referring to the ammunition used by the army. This suggests that the battle has resumed. And once again, a fire of hell rained on the Russian quarters, lines 33 and 34. What do these lines tell us? So again, if we go back to lines 33, and once again, a fire of hell rained on the Russian quarters. Well, the fire of hell is a metaphor referring to the ammunition. So we know that it has resumed again. Question 6. What line tells the reader where the war is being fought? Well, it does mention about the Crimean valleys. So if we go back to here, line 31, while the Crimean valleys learned how English love remembers. So this means that the song is being sung in the Crimean valleys. Therefore, the war is being fought there. So the answer there is C. Question 7, this is the last one. What has happened at the end of the poem? Well, unfortunately, some soldiers have died, and people mourn when someone dies. So that's what language we need to pick out. An English Mary mourns for him. In other words, grieves for him because he's passed away. Line 41 says, sleep soldiers. Here we are, sleep soldiers, still in honoured rest. In this line, sleep and rest are metaphors for death. And I've just mentioned it here. So, hopefully you've done well in answering those questions and you've managed to get most of them right, so you can record down your mark out of 7. And let's move on now to the next set of questions. So what do we have to do here? Well, we've got to find the word that's the odd one out. And in question 8, it's amble, because all the others mean to move quickly. So I've just written a couple of definitions that you might like to write down here. And then 9 is garden. All the other 3 are features in a garden, like a shrub, a hedge and a lawn. And number 10, we've got window, wall and brick. Though they're the external parts of the building, so they're kind of the outside. Okay, so therefore it's carpet is the odd one out. And then 11, we've got layer, because the other 3 refer to inside, something, the core. Often talk about the core of the earth, interior or an apple core, interior and centre. And then layer is the odd one out. Unfortunate, regrettable, undesirable, but precarious is the odd one out there because the others mean unfavourable. Bewildered, oblivious, confused and perplexed. Well, all the others mean to be puzzled. So perplexed, confused and bewildered. So oblivious is the odd one out. Well done if you got those correct. Let's move on to the next ones. We're looking at some synonyms, so words that mean the same. So we've got supposed and alleged. That means without proof. I'm actually going to choose a different colour this time just so we can easily see it. So we've got alleged, And then we've got distressing and harrowing. Those mean the same. They both mean to be disturbing. Confuse and bewilder means to be baffled. Robust means to be strong, sturdy. Collect and compile. If you sort of put things together or bring things together, you compile it or you collect it. Then we've got brief and concise. Both of those words mean short. And then we've got soothe and subdue. They mean to pacify. So out of 20, you can put your mark there then for that test 18. Oh, sorry, test 19. And then we're going to move on to test 20. So we're going to mark test 20 now. So what we've got here is a closed passage, and you've got to fill in all of the different gaps. So if we read it down through, we'll hopefully be able to put in those words. With air temperatures frequently dropping to minus 40 degrees during winter, Antarctica is Earth's coldest continent. Consequently, its native animals, such as the emperor penguin, have adapted to the cold with certain characteristics and behaviours. The birds possess a dense coat of oily, overlapping feathers, providing effective insulation by trapping air next to the skin. They also have a thick layer of fat to protect them from the cold. An important practice for emperor penguins is huddling groups of penguins clustered together, often with their chicks at the centre, to shield each other against the bitter wind. The huddle is constantly moving so that penguins alternate between standing in the warmer centre of the huddle and on the outer edge, and they all get to keep warm. Well, that's clever, isn't it? I know penguins are very good at adapting to their environment, aren't they? Hopefully you got most of the words in there. There were letters that helped you. Hopefully you got the right letters and you spelt them correctly, and you can put a mark out of 12. So good idea to pause the video now and just double check you've got the right letters in the right slots. Next we've got a set of reshuffled sentences to do. So let's just quickly go down through and see what they were. So the first one was kettle. That was the word that you didn't need. But the sentence was, I have my coffee with milk and 2 sugars. Question 14 was lakes. And the sentence should have been, the pool was much too cold to swim in. The pool was much too, with T-double-O, too cold to swim in. 15 broke. So we've got 15 would be 2, so that would be the word that you didn't require. And the sentence should have been, she couldn't get to work because her car broke down. So 2 was the word we didn't need there. 16 is collars. That's the answer. But the sentence should have read, his dog nearly escaped. His dog nearly escaped from the park yesterday afternoon. 17, the last one. 2 ambulances and a police car went speeding past. So 2 ambulances and a police car went speeding past. An accident was the word that you didn't require. We certainly would suggest when you do those, do read them as they're written first. I know I didn't do that, but just going through the answers with you. But when you were doing them, read them as they're written, and it will certainly give you a clue to what that sentence should be. Well done if you got all of those. And we've now got to look at synonyms, but these are missing letter questions. So accurate and precise, obedient and dutiful, ambition and aspiration, skill and expertise, and then gain and profit. And then we've got opposites, friendly and aloof, aloof sort of meaning distant, hesitant and decisive, so sort of resolute, polite and discourteous, so sort of being rude, and similar and diverse, being different. So again, put your score out of 26. Do pause the video if you want to, just to go back through any of those words that you didn't know. Stick them in your word of meaning, but I've given you another word that means the same down the side just to help you, and the same on here. If you didn't know any of those words, do put them in your word of meaning book. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it helped you go through your homework for week 4, and we look forward to seeing you in our next live sessions. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.